What's happening, everyone? It's GBall, and I have a new knife here to unbox for you, coming in from CMB. This right here is going to be a brand spanking new release for them. At the time you are seeing this video, these knives will be available. I'll have all the information down in the description. If this is your first time stopping by here, welcome to GBall Vision. Feel free to drop a comment below. Let me know what your carry is for the day. So the knife we are taking a look at is the brand new and improved Explorer. This is a version 2, and it's going to have a little different aesthetic to it than the original, which we'll take a look at here in a few moments. If you're not familiar with CMB, they put out some superb knives, in my opinion at least, and they have done so for many years, starting off with the original Predator. This one here is going to have the aluminum infused G10. They also have a couple others. I did see a copper infused G10 variant as well, and I have to say I'm a huge fan of this type of G10. As I've said in previous videos, the G10 innovation has just toppled over the last year or so. Companies are really starting to dial G10 in as a material. Stuff that looks like carbon fiber, stuff that has its own unique look aside from carbon fiber. I mean, could you tell the difference between this and a carbon fiber? You might have a hard time, actually, other than the weight. G10 is a little bit heavier, but it is going to look very, very good. So we have a little different blade shape here on the version 2 Explorer. This one has a beautiful machine satin finish to it. We are looking at a Tanto style, low tip Tanto style blade. Nice sharpening choil. CMB really reminds me of like an SRM because they do a superb job on their designs. They come out of the box insanely sharp. Very, very sharp. Some of the best edges out of the box that you can get your hands on. And these handles are nice and thick. We'll take a look at some of the specs here in a few moments. We do have dual thumb studs for the deployment, and we are looking at CMB's crossbar lock, which they do a wonderful job with it. And then we have their standard deep carry clip that is done very well. This is one of my favorite budget-oriented clips. It is recessed into the scale, and so are the screws. It is going to be left-hand friendly, and they include a filler tab to keep everything nice and clean. We have no branding on the show side of the blade. That is something I prefer. We have a clean show side pivot there with just their little logo. That is something I prefer as well. It just keeps everything nice and clean. I love the satin blade with the black hardware. And then we have the silvery G10. I think this looks really, really good. Black steel liners in there. There is a little bit of milling in there for weight relief. Let's get a look here at the overall size, and we'll get a look at the blade as well. So this is not a small knife by any stretch. It's going to come in at like 7.99 inches, almost 8. We had 3, and we're going to give it 3 3/16 of cutting edge, and we got 3.5 inches of total blade. We'll bring out a couple of comparison knives here. We have the V3 Predator. It has actually gone through 3 different generations. It is one of my favorite budget knives of all time. And here is the version 1 Explorer. You're going to be able to find all these knives still in stock, and they're all going to come in a wide range of different formats. Coated and uncoated blades, all kinds of different materials. You'll see that the Explorer V1 and V2, they're going to be identical in their length. It's actually going to be just a touch longer than the Predator series. And just a quick note, you can see here how they did tool this for lefty carry, but this is a next generation after the Predator. The Explorer came just after the V3, and you can see the incorporation of the filler tab, which is a great move on their part for aesthetics. And 2 more here for you. We have the new Tenable Bison, and we have the new Psyop from Vastid, the 299. And last two, we have the Spyderco Para 3 up top here and the Trivisa Batwing on the bottom. And much bigger than something like the Para 3 is. Fairly close to the Batwing. We'll go ahead and get our 50 ways baked in GBall Vision Hank out here, Iris Hank, and we'll take a look at this clip, see how it interacts with the seams, and see what it looks like down in the pocket. Have maybe 3/16 of an inch or so poking out, which I do prefer a little bit poking out of the pocket no matter what style. There is a place for deep carry, no question about it, and ultra deep carry, but in most instances, I want something poking out just a little bit. That way, it's a lot easier to get to. It's going to look nice and clean in the pocket. It's going to interact well. Very easy to get this over seams. There's plenty of clearance under there, and you don't have to worry about running into the clip or any screws, because all of that is recessed. As I said earlier, it is left-hand friendly. And in our matching backspacer here, we do have a lanyard post for the lanyard fans. Now it is that time we get the arch nemesis off the shelf. We're going to give the new Explorer a weight check. I like to play a little game here on the channel. It is called Guess the Weight, where I attempt to guess the weight of the new knife, but I always invite you to play along. You put your guess down in the comments, ounces or grams, whichever you prefer. Even if you already have a comment down there, go ahead and put your guess. And if you're enjoying this video, you like knives and EDC, double check and make sure you are subscribed here to the channel. I'm going to give this a go here. It does have some heft to it. We have nice thick G10 slabs here, good sized, good thickness of steel liners, perfectly centered up there. I'm going to say that this puppy is sitting at like a 3.9. No. I'm going to go 4.1. 4.1. Oh! Damn! 4.3 ounces and 122 grams. I'll take it. Not too shabby. 0.2 off. Now we get into some of the detailed specs. We're going to get the calipers out here. They are zeroed off. We'll get a couple of measurements on the handle and blade. 0.51 and 13 millimeters for our handle thickness. We'll move over to the blade stock thickness, which is the thickest part of our blade. That's going to come in at 2.98 millimeters, 118 thousandths. So a fairly average blade stock thickness. Let's check the behind the edge here. We'll pick a random spot and we'll get a good hold, or try to do so. And as I said at the beginning, 17 thousandths behind the edge there. Let's check this first edge here. Might be a little thicker, actually. Just a touch thicker at 21 thousandths. So that is coming down nice and thin. Anything down below 20 thousandths, I consider to start getting very thin. You start getting close to 15 thousandths and below, that's starting to get damn thin. Let's see how this bad boy cuts out of the box. We'll grab our standard catalog paper here and we'll see what we are working with. I am, as many of you know, a huge fan of Tanto blades. Some people hate them, some people love them, and it's that way with all blade shapes. Some people love this or that, and some people hate them. I'm a pretty big fan of all blade shapes because I see the use case for all of them, really. And a nice low tip Tanto blade is just a great blade shape in my opinion. I believe them to be very versatile. So we'll see what we are working with here on this edge. And it is going to be nice and sharp. Let's check that first edge. Oh, yes. Oh. They didn't slack. They didn't slack on that first edge. And companies are getting a little better, at least the ones I've handled. Sometimes you'll get a Tanto, over the years, you'll get a Tanto, and the first edge just isn't as sharp as it should be. But I would say here, over the last 6 months or so, maybe even a year of the various Tantos I have had in, companies have been doing a lot better job at making sure that first edge is nice and sharp and followed up by a nice sharp second edge as well. And what's nice is it is staying pretty thin out here towards the tip at 21 thousandths. That's below average in my opinion. 22 to 24 is very standard, and at 21, that's coming down pretty thin, and then it rolls into a 17 thousandths or so, could be even a little less than that actually. That's coming down very thin, and Tantos are known for their piercing power. It has a nice thick stock though, going all the way to that tip. So this is kind of a beater knife almost, something you could really abuse, but it's also going to slice very well. Let's get our off-grid driver out here, and we'll get a look at our hardware situation. Non-tooled pivot, as I said, we have a T8 in here at this current time. T8s on the body, and we're going to be looking at T6 on the filler tab there, and it's going to be T6 on the pocket clip as well, and T8 for the pivot. Everything feels nice and tight, which is exactly what you want. It's something I, haven't always mentioned. It's something I try to remember to do so, to bring up, but it's something when you get a new knife, any knife, you're going to want to check the knife over. Make sure if you're not going to take it apart completely and reassemble it, make sure all your hardware is tightened down, because I've had it happen to me many times where I didn't check the hardware and I look at my knife and there's a screw missing off the handle or off the clip or whatever it might be. It's happened a couple of times to me over the years. So it is something that you should pay attention to, and it's something I plan on bringing to the table more often. I've been trying to check them all and let you know how they are coming out of the box, but these are all nice and tight. As far as the spring strength goes, it is very good. Centered up, nice, strong spring on the open. You get a very satisfying crossbar lock action. No, doesn't feel like a true detent, but for a crossbar lock, CMB, I put them, near the tippy top of crossbar lock knives and mechanisms. They don't put out a ton of knives like some companies do, but the knives that CMB puts out are very, very good. High quality knives, good pricing, especially on their more affordable stuff like this here. And don't get it twisted, they also put out some premium knives as well. It's just they're not as mainstream as, some companies are. But like I said, guys and gals, the knives they put out are very, very good. This knife right here is going to be under 70 bucks in this configuration. I think they're like 65 or somewhere in there. And for this type of G10, 14C 28N, this type of finishing work, this is a superb, superb knife. And the cherry on top is going to be the fact that CMB runs their 14C, and it is well known at 60 to 62 HRC. And that's prime time for 14C. That means you're going to get the ultra toughness that it brings to the table, the ultra corrosion resistance, and it's going to be very easy to maintain for the end user. Even someone who doesn't have a ton of experience sharpening or stropping, you'll be able to get a good working edge back on this type of blade right here, no problem. And if you like drop points, over Tantos, well, they got the version 1s in the drop point. But this is a little bit more refined, I would say, aesthetically and just internally from the V1. You can tell over the course of the last couple of years, the Predator version 1 was a superb knife. The version 2 was even better. I consider the V2 one of the ultimate budget knives that you can get your hands on. The CMB Predator V2 with the crossbar lock. They did the V3s with a plunge lock. I look for them here very soon to do a V4 with a button liner lock. I hope that's the case, and I hope they bring that to the Explorer series as well. Last thing we have to do here is introduce the Spine Whacker and the new Explorer to each other. I don't think we're going to have any issues whatsoever. Let's go ahead. We'll give this a light tap. I don't feel any movement in there whatsoever. Let me know down in the comments, do you own any CMB knives? I know there's some of you out there who definitely have a Predator and maybe a few other knives from CMB. Listen to that thing. Sounds like a hammer. And no, we aren't trying to do this to see if we can hammer a nail into a tree. We're just doing this to make sure that we have a good, strong structural lockup. And in the case of this knife right here, we aren't going to have any issues. As a matter of fact, I have probably a dozen CMB knives. I don't have a ton, but I have quite a few, and we have not had any issues from them as far as the locking mechanisms go, the edges out of box, the fit and the finish. It is always top-notch stuff, and I love CMB. One of my favorite hidden gem companies, like I said, SRM and CMB, I put them up there. You know, there's a group, and I'm going to bring, let me know if I should bring a video to the table on hidden gem companies. You know, kind of the companies that sit in the background, but just absolutely kill it anytime they drop a knife. You'll have to let me know down in the comments, what do you think of the new Explorer V2 here? You gonna grab yourself one? Do you own any CMBs? I always look forward to hearing from you. Hit that thumbs up button for me. It really helps me out here. And if you want to continue to see dope daily knife and EDC content just like this, make sure you're subscribed here to the channel. I'll pop up a couple of new videos on your screen. Go check one of them out. Have yourself an awesome day. Thank you for watching. I'll catch you on the next one.